you doing? Welcome back, everyone. The votes, they've been cast for Election Day 2020, but not all of them have been counted, right? There's a whole lot of them still being counted. You just heard Scott talking a second ago about how some more came in votes for Joe Biden, so it looks like he just took the lead in Michigan. Joining me live from Bloomington, Paul Helmke, professor of practice at IU's O'Neill School of Public and Environmental Affairs, also a former three-term mayor of Fort Wayne. I think I should call you mayor. Nice to see you.
Yeah, it was great to be on the show. Thank you.
Absolutely. Let's start with deep breath. These polls, people are just beside themselves over how wrong pollsters got this election again. How do you describe it or put that into kind of perspective for folks?
Well, I do feel sorry for pollsters. They're getting a black eye almost every time we go here. It could end up being closer to what they predicted than we realized. They had Biden winning nationally in terms of the popular vote. That'll end up being true. They seem to have bigger margins for Biden than in the individual states, and that's a problem. And polling's had a checkered history throughout life. Back in 1936, people listened to the Literary Digest poll and thought that Alf Landon was going to beat Franklin Roosevelt when he ran for a second term. That didn't happen. In 1948, people thought Dewey was going to beat Truman, and that didn't happen. So we've had this. The big problem now, there's two big problems now. One is that people use cell phones, not landlines. They used to do random selection based on landlines. It's a lot harder to do that and get the right numbers with cell phones. And a lot of people are reluctant to pick up their cell phones and answer these things. They don't like junk calls. They think these are junk calls. And even if they know it's a pollster, they might not want to give the information over the phone because they don't trust the system. So bottom line is, don't pay any attention to the polls. They're guesses. They might be educated guesses, but they're no better than you or I guessing.
Yeah, and they get paid a lot of money to make those suggestions in cases where they're 17 points off. But right. I want to make sure we have time to talk about a question that we're getting from viewers this morning that are saying, okay, when President Trump is talking about taking the results or the votes from state to state to the Supreme Court, what does that process look like, or could he do that?
Well, the only time that's ever happened is in 2000 with the Bush versus Gore recount. That was a lot different in many ways. First of all, the numbers were already in Florida, and there was a recount of what those numbers are. There's never been a situation where you go to the courts before the counts are finished. Generally, you wait for a count to be finished, a state to say, here's the official winner in this state, and then someone files a recount. And during that process, someone might argue that these ballots should be counted or not counted. So the idea that you would get something into the courts at any level at this stage doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. You have to wait till the votes are counted and the votes are certified usually to do that. And you never start at the Supreme Court. You always start at the local court, and then you work your way up to the Supreme Court. So I think right now that's pretty much a lot of hot air. If Pennsylvania ends up being the deciding state and there's a concern that they were counting votes that shouldn't have been counted, that's an issue that could go to the courts, but you have to wait till Pennsylvania has basically said this is what they're doing.
Paul, we're almost out of time, but I did want to talk about the amount of money spent in cases where, not just overall with each candidate, but we're talking about people fighting against a candidate. There are two cases, two races where $100 million was spent on trying to get someone elected. That just feels so awful, really. It's just a waste.
It's amazing. Now, I mean, the one argument is that a lot more is spent on advertising potato chips and fast food than it's spent on politics. But my concern is, and first of all, the people that do this outside money, they oftentimes look at what the pollsters are telling them to decide whether they want to get into a race. And then the main thing they try to do in a race is to attack the other candidate, to press the vote for that person. And I always say if airlines or fast food people advertise this way and said, don't fly that airline, they crash, or don't eat at that fast food place, you'll get sick, people would stop flying airplanes and stop eating fast food. We do this in politics, and this turns people off to politics, makes them less likely to vote, makes them less trustful of the system, and I think it's bad overall. I like the old days where people got to know the people that are running in their area, and they evaluated them on their own, not just with all this outside advertising.
Yeah, because you figure if you're spending $100 million, you have a real reason that you want that candidate to win. Paul, thank you.
In the 30-second ads, you're not going to give a whole lot of factual basis to. So.
We appreciate you so much. Thank you. Good to see you. Scott Jones says Thank you, Mayor, from your
Okay, thanks,
Fort Wayne days. Don't forget, again, fox59.com/election.